Yeah, there have been a lot of things happening in the background, working very hard as always, busy, if I can say. But it's good to be speaking to you, and obviously, when I come here, klutchpabhora is about football. I'm really excited to be talking about football. It's just an update. Obviously, as you know, that the English Premier Soccer League is our flagship, but obviously we talk of African football and talk about the Zimbabwean Premier Soccer League. We talk also about the South African Premier Soccer League, which I really follow. I religiously follow this Africa for quite some years, and obviously I've watched the PSL. But obviously Zimbabwean football, we say congratulations Makoro Chondera Indiraya for winning the league championship with the new boys, Scotland. I think they've made history in the sense that the team was assembled this season, and in their first season with a lot of new players, they've won the league. They're different from Black Rhinos. Obviously, coming from Division 1, and they had a team which was already there, and then they came into the Premier Soccer League and they won the league that season. We remember the team of Tizwa, the light Stanley Simunduma, Jerishida Wadzungu, Marunga Nyangela, the Bomba, Love Mo, Mutimba, Govenda. I mean, that was a great side, but this Scotland team has really done so well. They were chased by the defending champions, that is Zimbabwe, who fizzled out, and I must say tough luck to Joe Lupasa and his boys for not retaining the trophy. They tried so well, and I think the African safari in which they participated the first time was a little bit of a distraction. They lost narrowly to Senyizi of Swaziland, but you know, that's what happens in a football journey. Learn from your mistakes, and I don't think we can put a gun on them and say, I mean, they disappointed us. That's part and parcel of football. Dynamos have done that. I mean, they were beaten by small teams, but eventually they reached the final of the African Champions League, and also Caps United Highlanders in the same breath. And well, most lodged by my brother, coached by my brother, Lloyd Mutasa, have really punched above their weight. We look at a team like Tel1, coached by Herbert Jombano Marua, have also done wonders. They are in the top four, but there is a matter which is not yet finalized. That is relegation. Babangu, the relegation is what? Dynamos Football ever thought that on this day, that is in November 2025, I'll be sitting here saying that Dynamos need a game, the last game of the season, to survive to play in the Premier Soccer League next season. But it is what it is. It is a lesson that in football, if you don't plan and the things are done haphazardly, abysmally, then definitely you are going to suffer. And it's been the norm with Dynamos Football Club over the years. They've not been well run, and now look at them. They've had 3 coaches in one season, which is really a big disappointment. So Kevin Kaindu has really tried together with Manu Jalai, who is playing for the Warriors, and Babadodo, that is Denver Mkamba, has come to Dynamos, and he has really ignited the Dynamos fans who were boycotting to go to the stadiums. Like I have said, we say heads off to Tondera Indira, Nyson Mchekela, and the technical team for winning the league championships. And today there is the curtain decider in the northern region. Hard Rock have qualified to play in the Premier Soccer League, which means they'll be using Chawanda Stadium. I mean, there were stories, hot stories there where they were competing with Shesam, and there were stories about a player using 2 different names. But you know, that's the nature of African football. There are controversies. We don't have the evidence to say that the coach, the player, yes, these controversies. Why did the arbitration favor Hard Rock? And also in the eastern region, coached by a 27-year-old, that is Hunters, they've qualified for this. So these are stories which makes it exciting. That's why this football is the best, is the world's most beautiful game, because you get these exciting stories. So Ngombeora are playing against Mo. So there's a subplot there. If I can picture this, Ngombeora has got connections with obviously Scotland. I don't know who owns it. And we know the stories of Scotland and Mo's last season. There was bad blood between those clubs. We may try to hide it as diplomatic as we can, but there's some subplots about that, and they're playing against Mo's under 19, and there is some stories coming out that there's bribery. Joseph Tataringova, I was speaking to Nkoma Shaba in the afternoon before I came here, and he said these are stories which get spread. I mean, Be very careful with social media. They can sell you a skyscraper and buy it, and it's not there. They can tell you that. We saw Odecious he has grown some horns. I don't have horns. I've got my hat and some glasses, but that's social media. You don't need to listen to it. But they always say that where there is no smoke, there is no fire. But we say in advance, can we say that Nesbet Saruchera is one of the few coaches who coached 4 clubs, taking them from Division 1 to the Premier Soccer League, and it took a great history from my big brother Nesbet Saruchera together with his assistant coaches. Hello, Michali Williams, how are you, my brother? Thanks to have you on klutchpabhora. So it will be great to see Nesbet Saruchera together with the thanks Stanway getting into the Premier Soccer League. They say that Northern Region is the hardest league of the 4 Northern Region, and the Bulawayo Chiefs have also qualified to play in the I was bewitched by the English Premier Soccer League. I'll be coming to the English Premier Soccer League now. They've qualified to play in the Zimbabwean League. And let us talk about the Warriors. The Warriors are playing in the African Cup of Nations. And we have fired the coach in Michael Nis. You know, I was different with a lot of people on this one. I mean, why fire the coach when we are a week to go to the African Cup of Nations? I'm not saying that I like Michael Nis. No, I'm not saying that. But where is the logic of giving a 1-year contract to a guy? I don't know him. I've got nothing against the new coach. You give him a 1-year contract. So picture this. The African Cup of Nations is coming now. How many matches are going to be played? How many matches do you think Zimbabwe will play at the African Cup of Nations? After the African Cup of Nations, next year, okay, if we say a year's contract, so his contract is ending November next year. How many matches are we going to play? What about if you don't have a good Nations Cup? You're going to fire him. You've given him a 1-year contract. So where was the problem? If you could give one of our local guys the job. He goes to the African Cup of Nations. You sit down after the African Cup of Nations without emotions. And one of the biggest things in football leadership is to make decisions without emotions, especially in football. Imagine Liverpool, if they were emotional, and Slot were firing him. Manchester United, Ruben Amorim were firing him. I know what has happened at Nottingham Forest is unprecedented. It's something which has not happened, whereby they have 6-7 coaches, Ruby and Jordan. How are you guys? Ruby and Jordan, thank you. You well, guys? Thank you for having me. What's up, bro, on Africa Cup? Okay, I'll be talking about that. But what I'm saying, you fire a coach. Remember, Zimbabwe not playing at home. We don't have home support. But with due respect, the African Cup of Nations, you qualify. It's very important. I know people are saying that want to qualify bad results for the World Cup. Did you want us to go to the World Cup? Like, really? Did you want us to go to the World Cup? People behave as if Zimbabwe are the reigning World Cup champions or are the reigning champions of Africa. Football has no shortcuts. We don't have structures in Zimbabwean football. There are no junior leagues in Zimbabwean football which are vibrant. We don't have the national under-17, national under-20, national under-23. That's where football should come from. We don't have those structures. So how do you expect a national team to just come in, all of a sudden the national team is winning? I've always told people that Zimbabwe, for the past 10 years, have not produced a local 10, give me 5 best players who have been produced in Zimbabwe. 5. I'm not talking of the knowledge Musonas, the Kama billiards. I mean, they were produced some years back. If, as a country, as an association, you have not produced players in the last 10 years, the conveyor belt of talent, which means we have a problem. Then you tell me the national team will just pop in against whatever, even against Lesotho, they win a match. It doesn't work like that. Clubs, countries have improved their football. Football doesn't wait for no one. It doesn't. Football goes. Clubs plan. My Manchester United, going to the English Premier Soccer League, we were living in the shadows of, say, Alex Ferguson, and other teams improved. And it caught up with us. And some people are living in denial and thinking Manchester United can just wake up and win the game. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't. Football doesn't work like that. South Africa realized their problems. What did Hugo Broos do? When he came, he was fighting with almost everyone, Hugo Broos. Fighting with everyone. He was picking players there and there, saying this player is old. But he was clever enough. He built his best of Bafana with Mamelodi Sundowns team. Why? Because Mamelodi Sundowns were playing in Africa. The moment you have Orlando Pirates playing in Africa, Stellenbosch playing in Africa, Marumo Gallants playing in Africa, you have a best of players who are used to the competition. In Zimbabwe, with due respect to Simba Bora, these are the Zimbabwean champions. Yes, it is a start for them. They are learning. They lost to champions of Swaziland, Singisi. If you have your champions losing to a team with due respect from Swaziland, so what are you telling me? What are you telling me? Let us first, if we want to ask the coaches, let us first look at our leagues. Is our league competitive? Do we have quality in our leagues? Do you have junior structures for these clubs? When did you last hear Highlanders under 19, Dynamos under 19, Caps United under 19? These are, I've cherry-picked these clubs because these are the traditional three clubs of Zimbabwean football. When did you last hear Zimbabwe under 17? When did you last hear Zimbabwe under 23? We are lucky to qualify for the African Cup of Nations, if I'm being honest, because of the boys who were groomed in the UK. We were very lucky. We owe it to those boys, and we owe it to the guys who brought those boys here. Had we not brought those boys, we could not even have sniffed at qualifying for the African Cup of Nations. If you see that our football is dire, we code knowledge and so on. I'm not saying that is bad. Come a billion. For goodness sake. Those are the last batch of talent which we produced in Zimbabwe. Anyway, it is what it is. So we hope the new coach, I don't know his name, Marinaka or something, we just hope that everything works out at the African Cup of Nations. But I'm not really putting it too much because, at the end of the day, it's not about results. Yes, of course, you play football is a result-oriented sport. But, at the end of the day, we play to win. But, we are developing, we are progressing. We want to see progress. We want to see some structures. The English Premier Soccer League, which is a flagship of klutchpabhora, is on match day 10 yesterday, but today it is a Super Sunday. It is the match which is beating Liverpool versus Manchester City. It is a match which is beating Haaland, who has scored almost 25 goals for club and country. He is on top form. A Manchester City side who is trying to have an identity with new players, the likes of Jeremy Doku, the likes of Phil Foden's playing very well. Then the Ryan Cherky is also there, Rangers, but they have been missing that cog in midfielder, that is Rodri, who has had a recurring knee injury. Manchester City are not to be written off. They're playing against the Liverpool side, who people were writing a lot of stories, some obituary, that Liverpool is finished. They are not finished. They're going through a slump. And I like to believe that the problem has been trying to fuse the players, which they brought in, Isak and Vitz, whom I think is a very good player. It's about finding the balance in midfield, and also the two fullbacks in Joshua Zexen and Frimpong. They have struggled a little bit. Not that they are bad players, but it's because they are coming to a new team which had a set strategy, a set system in which they wanted to play. So it's really very difficult. And Mo Salah is not the player he was, but I don't think he's finished because every time Mo Salah plays in every season, has double figures in his goals which he scores. So Liverpool, it's a matter of time before they find their mojo. So for anyone who was writing their obituary that Liverpool is finished, they beat Aston Villa. That was a good performance in which the player whom I say he has been the best defensive midfielder last season in the English Premier Soccer League, Ryan Gravenberch, was on top form. Then they follow that in midweek when they beat Real Madrid in the Champions League. So if you need a confidence booster coming into a big match, it is the match against Liverpool and Manchester City. It used to be the top of the class, but there are new boys in town who had gone for 8 games without conceding a goal. My goodness, with the solid central defensive partnership of William Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes. Those are the Gunners of London. They've made some great signings, especially in midfield. Martin Zubimendi, the defensive cog in midfield, and I think he's been actually been one of the best signings of the season. Martin Zubimendi, this traveled to the stadium of Light up north, where they faced their former captain in Granit Xhaka, Sunderland, sitting second on the log. We see that every time that there is a team which surprises Sunderland. My goodness, they scored firstly, but Arsenal is Arsenal. They never give up. They were leading by 2-1, and in injury time, that was bicycle kick. So Raya is considered 2 goals after quite a long time, but Arsenal still sit on top. These are 10 games. Then we are going to the international break where we will be playing for the World Cup qualifiers. My club, Manchester United, we were playing yesterday in the Stadium of London playing against Spurs. We have not beaten Spurs since 2022 when we had COVID. We played against Tottenham yesterday. I mean, we were leading by 1 goal to nil when Bumo scored the player of the month. Please, I'm rubbing into you. Bumo, the player of the month for October, together with Ruben Amorim. And I was thinking that we're going to get to beat Spurs. But like this team, it's a team which is still suffering from mental fatigue, whereby they are thinking of the result, not the performance. So in football, when you go to a match, you are thinking of the result. I mean, it catches up with you because you're not playing freely. So the most important thing in football is to think about your performance, then results will come. They were thinking about the result and, I mean, madness. The last 10 minutes, I was thinking, what is happening here? And Tottenham scored to make it 2-1. And I was looking at Richarlison celebrating. It's as if he had won the World Cup. But the last kick of the game, a corner kick from Bruno Fernandes to the player who has been one of the best defenders in the English Premier League, Matthias de Ligt. I mean, to make it 2-2. And yeah, it is what it is. So guys, thank you for having me. It's been a great. So I'll be doing some African Cup of Nations updates, which is starting in November. Someone was asking me what is happening. We are in the same group as Zimbabwe, together with South Africa, Bafana, Angola. Look, I don't want to, I'm a patriotic Zimbabwean guy. I don't want to jump too much and say that Zimbabwe is going to lose. Zimbabwe is my first team, the best team which I support obviously. After then Manchester United comes. We make a lot of mistakes as Zimbabwe. There are a lot of mistakes the mistakes which are unnecessary, to be quite honest. As I have said, I mean, my heart bleeds with the decisions which we make. We get a new coach. Why did we come to fire the other coach? Did we think we were going to the World Cup? Hell no. Why are we in a hurry? We hire this coach. Credit to him. He's got a job. I don't know where he's coming from. I can't him now, but he gave him a 1-year contract. But in that 1 year, how many games are we going to play Africa's Nations Cup? So imagine he has a better AFCON. You're going to fire him again. Then we have, say, a friendly match in March. In a place of 6 months, we have got 3 coaches. What are you doing? You should have got a Caetano Tembo, who was now the assistant coach. Take we take the boys to the AFCON. Then after that, you assess. You sit down. And I don't agree with this thing that you put in an advert of a coach. This is not a waitering job, whereby you put an advert that their waiters wanted at Ocean Basket or waiters wanted here at Home Cafe. It doesn't work like that. I mean, good coaches don't apply for jobs. You identify the coaches you have. You know the characteristics of Zimbabwe. I don't know if they have. If someone can help me, what are the characteristics of a Zimbabwean player? What is the identity? If you can ask me, what are the identities of a South African player? Quick passing, quick turns. You identify a coach who can help us to play that kind of thing. I'll tell you, it's not a secret. All the clubs, no matter how successful you are, they've got plans at the back of their head. They know that if it doesn't work out, that's why you see that when a coach is fired, they are quick to get another coach. It's normal. So if, as a nation, we don't have coaches whom we line up, so that when we fire a coach and it doesn't work, you identify a coach. If he's unattached, you want the time. What is the time? Which time, brother? I'm not sure about the time which you are asking for. I think it's 2. I'm not looking at the time. So you identify a coach whom you think can help with the identity which you want to play. Then you approach that coach. Then you sit down, he pitch. He has to do his pitch on what he can bring to Zimbabwean football. You can't put in an advert for a coach. Big coaches don't apply. It's not a waiter's job. They don't apply for a job. You identify the coach, you sit down with him. And the problem is not these coaches. The problem was not Michael Nis. The problem is those who appointed him. What did you see in him? You say, hey, Michael Nis is not a good coach. Marikana, what is not a good coach. But you interviewed him. Then you start coming to us and say, no, he's not a good coach. Why? Okay, thanks, Soda. Then you tell me that, thanks, my phone wasn't working, it's fine, brother. Then you tell me that the coach is not good. I don't buy into that, brother. I don't buy into that. But anyway, thanks guys for watching. It's been a blast. It's a Sunday. I mean, it's sunny days, heat wave here in Cape Town, so we're going to Camps Bay to have some time on the beach and relax and talk about the game. Or the South African Premier Soccer League was saying that Orlando Pirates are through to the final of what's this? Black Label Cup. Wow, yeah, they won yesterday. Tsepang Moremi scored a goal. I'm liking this on New Orlando Pirates coach. I'm liking him. He's fusing some youngsters. And I say that the time I came here in South Africa, I've watched a lot of talent. I didn't watch Dr. Kumalo, but Godfrey Sapula, I watched him. Yeyele Solonyana, Ezrom Nyendoro, Tiko Modise, I watched him. Who are the other midfielders I've watched? Yeah, a lot of midfielders. But for me, the best player I've watched, because I'm here in Cape Town, it was Tulani Krim Serrero. But there's this youngster who is playing at Orlando Pirates. His name is Masindi Namtetela. What a player he was. He came from Marumo Gallants last season. And watch that name. Namteja, yeah, Masindi Namteja. What a player he is. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I see you have been participating, but it's great to be speaking to you once again. Please make sure that you hit a notification button so that when I am live, you'll be the first one to get my updates. And also, a like and share it to your friend. Because tell a friend that klutchpabhora is the best space in football. Please follow all my socials, because if you want to know or hear anything about football, fair analysis, without fear or favor, without filters, African football, Zimbabwean football, South African football, European football, we flow, because this is our life. This is what we do. We love it. It's not for money, it's passion. One thing which you can't do, you can't buy passion at a spaza shop, at a Somali shop. You can't. It's either you have it. We can be 500 doing the same thing, but what separates you and me is the passion which I have, the love which I have. It's the love for the football which I have. So thank you so much, guys. I will be watching Liverpool versus Manchester City until we meet again. It's been a blast. From me, Odecious, until we meet again, tell a friend that klutchpabhora is back and here to stay. Bye-bye.